right, Paulie and Teddy back on SportsBit at Paulie Howard on Twitter at Teddy_covers. Deep dive. But we want to talk about this because of what happened Sunday in the Colts-Lions game, where a lot of guys had the Colts on a teaser and they lost because of the safety at the end. So basic teaser strategy coming up in a second. Teddy, you're an expert on this. Wall Street flew you out a couple years ago to talk about it.
Yeah. I got to give a presentation at the trading show in New York. It was kind of cool, being around some of the Wall Street money, which you don't get to see all the time in Las Vegas. I went out there with John Netto. He's the president of M3 Capital, and of course Ed Meyer from NTI Sports, who was also a professor who's done a lot of work with teasers over the year. And the three of us went and gave a nice presentation at the trading show in New York, and it was one of those whirlwind trips. You fly in, you fly out. I think I was there for about 36 hours. Fun to spend some time in the city. But yeah, I do know a little bit about teasers. It's something that when it comes to basic strategy, and I'm not going to take credit for it by any stretch of the imagination, but when it comes to basic strategy on teasers, it's something that, boy, the public, they do so many things wrong. We need to help with this deep dive. All
right, how does it work? Break it down. What are they doing wrong?
All right, let's start with the brains behind the opera. I'm not I'm not an idiot, but I'm not Stanford Wong either. Stanford Wong, of course, a noted blackjack theorist. He wrote a book called Sharp Sports Betting that was first published in 2001. That came through with the idea of basic strategy teasers. All right, the basic strategy is this: you're taking short underdogs and teasing them up to bigger underdogs. But plus 1.5, plus 2, plus 2.5. Those are the key ranges. Because then what's happening is you're getting all of the key numbers working for you in your teasers. The goal is more games in the NFL end on 3 than any other. The second most common result is a 7-point victory. Then 6, and then 4. So when you're moving a dog from plus 1.5 up to plus 7.5, or plus 2.5 up to plus 8.5, you're capturing all of those key numbers. That's your little sweet spot, that tiny little range, plus 1.5 to plus 2.5 underdogs, less than a field goal. You tease them up to more than a touchdown, and boom, that's basic strategy. It's a similar story the other way around. You're taking the favorites of slightly more than a touchdown, 7.5 to 8.5 point favorites. You're using your standard NFL 6-point 2-team teaser. You knock those 7.5s down to 1.5, or the 8.5s down to 2.5, and that little range for the favorites, again, you're capturing all the key numbers, 3, 4, 6, and 7. That's basic strategy for teasers. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. You tease short dogs up over a touchdown. You tease bigger favorites down under a field goal. And those are the only games, the only ones that you use teasers for. That's it. Nothing else.
What were give us some examples of these games Sunday, week 2?
Well, yeah, I mean, your classic example for week 2. Okay, there's 3 games that stand out as being good teaser candidates right now, and they're all underdogs because there are no favorites this week in that 7.5 to 8.5 point range. You have KC, they're looking at plus 2.5 right now at Houston. KC, tease them up to 8.5. That makes sense. The Vikings, 2.5 point home dogs to Green Bay. The Vikings, tease them from 2.5 to 8.5. That makes sense. The Cowboys, 2.5 point dogs at Washington. Again, 2.5 up to 8.5. KC, Minnesota, Dallas. Those are the 3 teams that fit into basic teaser strategy this week.
Tease the NFL only. The lines are tight. These other sports, too much variance in totals and college football. Get away from that. I've heard this story before, and it's awesome. Share your NBA teaser story in your bookie days.
Sure. And let me just come in with this, okay? When you say tease the NFL only, that means tease the frickin' NFL only, okay? 6 points are worth more in lower totaled games. So when you start getting into these games in college where the totals are in the 60s and the 70s, the 6 points you just bought, they're not worth as much. NFL games that are generally totaled in the 40s, 6 points are worth a lot more. So you asked for the NBA teaser story. This is a true story, man. When I was a bookie in Ann Arbor in the early 90s, we didn't know anything. We were idiots. We knew that teasers were 6 points. NFL teasers were 6 points. We just assumed that NBA teasers were 6 points. There was no internet, you know. So we spent a full year as a bookie giving clients, or giving, I guess they were clients, giving bettors 6 points on NBA teasers. You know how many people beat us during that year, Paulie? Zero. Not one. The extra 2 points made no difference in anybody's bottom line for the course of the entire season. Now, admittedly, we were booking to college kids that didn't know what the hell they were doing. It was a very different era. But that speaks volumes about why I'm not teasing NBA, why I'm not teasing college hoops. Tease NFL. That's the sport that the wise guys tease because it's beatable. The teasers in the NFL do have positive expectation opportunity.
Explain why I don't think we mentioned it, but explain why everyone made a mistake if they teased the Colts Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, the Colts, you can't tease across zero, okay? Games don't land on zero. You have one tie, every 2 years in the NFL, every 4 years in the NFL? It doesn't happen very often. So when you're teasing across zero, and boy, the amateurs love to do this. They love, instead of laying 3.5, now I'm catching 2.5, and silly stuff across zero. You're paying for a point that you don't get when you tease across zero. That's why anyone that lost teasing Indy last week on that last safety, on that final safety, I hate to tell you, you deserve to lose. You violated basic strategy.
Yes. Anything else you want to mention?
Well, the last thing I would say is don't tease totals. You're looking for, the whole concept of teasers is look for lower variance. Games where you expect it to be relatively close to the point spread. That's why we like teasing the NFL, because we know that the power ratings and the point spread in the NFL are tight, and game after game comes down to the wire in the fourth quarter in the NFL. That's why we like teasing the NFL. Okay? And they're lower total games, but boy, people start teasing totals. They start teasing and they just get caught up with it. That's not the way to beat teasers. The way to beat teasers, 2-team 6-point teasers, 3-team 6-point teasers, 4-team 6-point teasers. However many you want to fit into your tease that fall into the basic strategy. Don't tease totals. Don't tease across zero. God, for God's sakes, don't tease the NBA, or college hoops, or college. But yes, you can beat teasers. Professional bettors do bet teasers, but only in the NFL and only using basic strategy.
Very good. Fun segment. I enjoyed that. All right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So we're not changing anything. You have the hot hand here when we go to you. Money time, play of the day, baseball. What are we doing?
Yeah, play of the day's been on a real nice run. We've been winning in football. We've been winning in baseball. Let's see if we can keep it rolling. Of course, no football today because I'm not involved in either of the Thursday games that we just talked about. That being said, I'm involved in baseball tonight. Game number 924, the Chicago White Sox. They're minus 115 right about now. We told you about Jose Quintana earlier as being a bet-on guy. Now let's talk about Carlos Rodon. Rodon 5-0 with a 1.85 ERA since August 1st. He's facing Tomlin. And Josh Tomlin, he's 0-5 with an 11.20 ERA since August 1st. Okay, the White Sox also Rans. They're relishing this chance to play the spoilers. They're only 4 games under 500, so there is a sense of purpose. And, of course, the easy win on Tuesday brings the key bullpen arms in fresh for the White Sox. This is a pick'em game. One pitcher's a .185 ERA. The other guy's 11.20. No chance. Give me the White Sox minus 115. That's our play of the day.
Awesome, baby. We're back Thursday. You could argue that week 3 coming up is better than week 1 in college football. Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan State, Notre Dame. How about Louisville and Florida State? We'll run down all the games, a big game breakdown coming up tomorrow. Talk to you then. Thanks for the spike in views. Tell your friends. See you tomorrow. SportsBit, betting insight today on SBRpicks.com, baby.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.